Today I'm taping my practice session. Just kind of raw and unedited. I'm just kind of in my work coveralls, but it's kind of the usual time where I do my practice from about 7 o'clock to about 8:30 in the morning. And I thought it would be a good just to honest presentation of the way that I approach my practice. So I set up my Pivo pod, first time I've been using it, to see how it covers me going back and forth. Today I'm working on the second form of Ying's Northern Shaolin, which is Chuan. I haven't done it for quite a while, so kind of bringing it back from the dust. And this is like the third morning that I've been practicing it. And in doing my practice, what I do is initially I'll do a slow stance work form set, and I use what I call my inner teacher, the kind of unbiased observer, to observe how I perform, and I grade it as I go along to see what I need to work on. And in the first few mornings ago when I did it, there was about 3 moves that I was kind of not very good in. The rest of the form I did pretty good, and then I kind of graded my stamina, and I haven't done it for a while. My stamina is a little bit down. So in this morning, so the last yesterday when I did it, it was pretty good, but I identified the 2 sections or the two or three moves that I need to work on, and I worked on them kind of actually throughout the day, just kind of thinking about how to approach them maybe differently, or kind of like I have focus thoughts on when I perform them, and I'll kind of maybe identify those as I go along. But so in this second set that I just did, what I was emphasizing was basically kind of like the flow, and what I describe it is when you're like doing it in a form that has kind of like a certain amount of endurance to it. You start off with a certain amount of change, and the change is basically your physical ability, to perform and have stamina. And as you do this form, you have to be careful how you spend that change. So in doing the Northern Shaolin, it's always emphasized to perform your movements very relaxed and just power from your root. But if you are kind of too stressed and you're too stiff, then you're spending more change as you go along, and you run out of money by the time you do the end of the set. So part of my practice is to learn how to control my energy flow throughout the form. And so in the second set, that's kind of what I was doing, and I wanted to kind of see where I would still have just a little minimum amount of energy, and I'm about 2/3 the way through the set, and I'm still feeling pretty good. But then if I did the last section, I probably start to kind of fumble a little bit because I'm starting to run out of energy. So that's why I just kind of stopped where I was, and I kind of divide the set into like basically 3 different sections, and then on some mornings I'll practice one section and then another section and then another section individually, so that I have full capabilities or stamina and power while I'm performing that last section. Because if you always do your form totally through, your last section will be kind of like always in the tired zone. So it's important to actually do maybe the third part. We got somebody joined us this morning. So this is like one of my wonderful assets I have, animals around me as I'm practicing. He's pretty good about not occupying the space where I'm working out, but now I'm just kind of talking to the camera. He kind of slowly got in the picture. So that's what I'm doing this morning. So you'll be able to see my actual honest, because everybody does a performance and then that's like all you see, your image of them. But this is like my honest presentation of my own practice, and in my efforts on the YouTube channel to be as honest as possible with kind of depicting my practice through the years. I think this would be a good way to do it. So one of the things I like to emphasize in my practices and for when I teach practitioners is don't be afraid of making mistakes. Mistakes is how you learn. And again, in this presentation of my honest practice, I do make mistakes. I'm not like the super duper superhero or anything like that. So I accept those mistakes, and I accept the things I need to work on. And so in this section, I'm going to kind of show you the weak part that I was working on my Chuan. Again, this is after not doing Chuan for like quite a long time. I'm not going to tell you how long, but pretty long. And so it started out in my grading, I was like about maybe 50 to 60%. Second day it was up to about 75%, and you know, I'm up to about probably 80% of what I feel my capability is, but still have things to polish up. And this is only after 3 days. I'm not doing it a long time. And one of the things I like to emphasize if you're a long time practitioner is also the ability to not practice what you know and be willing to see how long it takes for it to degrade, and that kind of is an indication of really how well you've actually mastered it, because really masters don't practice everything every day, of course. So not knowing how long you can kind of get by, you know, and how much it kind of goes down a little bit. So if it drops down to 80% and it takes you 2 days to get up to 100%, that's, you know, you can work on the stuff that you really need to work on. You don't have to do everything every day. That's basically my main message to you. So in this, I'm working, I'll show you in the Chuan form. It comes from this portion here. Right here, this double jump kick for the soul kick. Into the ma, the horse, and then this jump right here into the second horse. So it came back pretty good. I made a kind of small discoveries in the way that I turned from here. I kind of modified actually, because the way that I did the original form, I'm practicing from here, jumping over something into this stance, which is kind of difficult because you have to be able to jump up and land. But here, if I just kind of do this little bit of a turn first, that was a easier way to do it. And of course, in presentation, I don't think anybody would really notice that, but a little modification I did to experiment with whether I'm going to change it from that hop into the stance or just to spin into the stance. And kind of by using a video camera, I could kind of see if there's actually a noticeable difference. For me, I know the conceptual difference of hopping over somebody's sweep into the stance or just kind of doing the spin. But for presentation, if it makes the presentation smoother, so you don't look like you're falling on your butt, and nobody notices the difference, then that's okay for general presentations, demonstrations. And again, it's important in doing your practice to understand the difference between your own practice and what you normally do and how you develop it, as versus the demonstration that we put out to the public world, so that what people see, what they have an image of you. But again, I'm trying to be as honest as possible with my own practice to present to you, because it's of my long-term practice. Okay, so that, and then in this other section, there's the double jump kick and spin, and that's the one that I have the hardest time. Part of it is because I'm working on dirt, but I don't ever want to use anything as an excuse. And a lot of it depends on the shoes. I'm wearing these Tai Chi shoes, and they're kind of soft, and but I'm trying to kind of develop different ways to do the turn. So that's what I've been working on for yesterday and today. And again, a lot of this, I don't like to just do the morning practice, but I'll practice during the day, kind of just go and do a little thing to get away. So when you do your spin, it's kind of hard, you saw, to kind of control your spin. So I tried another way to kind of step out ahead of time, do the turn with my foot ahead of time, which will look like this. So when I get it down, then there's kind of the mental projection of how it feels. And so once you kind of discover the way that you want to do the particular move, then use kind of your unbiased observer to feel what it feels like to do that perfect move. And then you kind of, when you actually go to do your performance, all you're thinking of not how to do the move, but you're thinking of that feeling of what that perfect move felt like. I'm sure that that's what gymnasts and people that, high performance athletes do. You can see them kind of pre-visualizing the routine in their mind, and then all they're doing is programming their body to achieve that perfect state of achievement. So, and that's part of that presentation that you do. Again, like when I did those 2 times, I'm kind of more introspective, thinking about how I want to do the move. I'm kind of like thinking about how the move feels and what, how the success rate of how I changed it came out. So that's what, I'll do it one more time. I'll do it from back here. Okay, so in this next set, I'm going to work on the last section that missed out in this the second set that I did. I'm pretty good on that section of the set, so it doesn't really need that much work. But what I'm going to concentrate is on presentation, and in a lot of forums, when I watch people do the presentation, there's a difference between like when you're concentrating inner, you're kind of thinking within and doing your form, or if you're presenting the projection out. And it's all basically in where the eyes are focusing. So whenever you see somebody practicing, a lot of times you could see that they're kind of introspective, so like inside, like this, rather than projecting out. You can see right in the eyes. So in this next section I'm going to try to present, because in some of the past videos you saw, that was Sifu's emphasis to both Jungmei and Bing in Saber, to project out as if you're like having an opponent in front of you.